So you're leaving me.
By the time anybody hears this, I will have already left. I believe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
Trust me, I actually almost sent you a video today because I'll still show you because Ken's always makes fun of me for how little I am, which is true. As a 5'1",
I don't make
it's
fun of you
no,
that
no, like in a nice way, not like a
Okay, I was
mean
like,
way.
don't make me seem like a bully.
No, like in a
Okay,
it's
hold on. Can
teasing.
we talk about the light reflecting
I
off of my
know.
forehead?
Oh, you. I thought you were talking about me. I was like, I also have
Oh,
one.
no. That's
We're
so
twins.
I hate it.
Don't look at it. We're fine. No, but my
Actually, if you're
suitcase,
watching the video, get off and go listen
yeah,
to
for
this.
real.
This is
Sorry.
horrible. Why is it
My
reflect?
suitcase is like literally half my size. And I had to show you because it's so funny. Like I was like, "Oh, perfect. It's gonna fit everything." And then I like stood next to it and I'm like,
Have you
I could fit my body in there."
you've seen Gilmore Girls, right?
Of course.
You know the episode where Elaine is getting shipped off.
Yeah.
I want to say to Korea,
Yeah.
and
Her mom sends her.
her suitcase is literally like this
That's
much
what I look
taller than
like.
her.
That's what this looks like. I'm dead
Oh
serious.
God.
It's funny. I'll send you a picture. It just looks like it next to me. It's like, oh my God, what is going on? But yes,
So Bree's leaving me to go to Australia, but
yay.
she's going for the F1 Grand Prix, the season opener. So I guess it's okay. And it makes up for the fact that I went to Four Nations without her.
It like cancels. We each did something cool. Then
Yeah.
we have to actually do something cool together. I feel like this is what this is.
Yeah.
It leads up.
Yeah.
But yes, yours is also way closer. You don't have to like fly
You
across the world for it. Granted, I could do one of them like here. I just said
could.
go big or go home,
I
literally,
guess
because I still
so.
have to come home. But I'm very excited. Doesn't feel real yet,
Yeah.
but I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'm gonna spend an insane amount of money, I think, but it's okay.
That's fair.
Experience is what it's worth. So
I know we're recording this like right before the stadium series and I really want to go. Um, Alas, Columbus is like a 10-hour drive, which is I would
is
do.
it? Oh, for you. I was like, when I looked it up, it's only 8, but I forgot you live
Like two
farther
hours
this
farther,
way
yeah.
from me. Yes. Just kidding.
Um, but like tickets are super cheap. But like the problem is like there isn't like
Go.
a flight like close enough to where like I wouldn't have to, I don't know.
Really?
Um,
Well, no,
it's
because then
still
you have
like
to drive to the
20
airport.
minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
Which like is fine.
Also, like
But I have to get my
some.
car fixed this
Oh,
weekend,
it's
and I
right.
think if
The
like even if
tire
I
saga. Is that
yeah,
the
Bree and
same
I
day?
yeah, it's on Saturday.
Literally the same day.
Bree and I both need all new tires, and both of
Fun
us are putting
fact.
it off. So,
But
fine.
Mackenzie's like,
I have to get mine done.
apparently in New York, they hate you not having your whatever, like your car has to be,
They
I guess,
want
the
your
best
car to
ever.
work? Yeah.
Yeah, in New Jersey, they don't care. They just care that you don't put emissions into the atmosphere, and that's it. Now.
Fair enough.
So I
So,
can push it
yeah,
off until I like genuinely need them, but
I want to go. I'm not going. It's fine.
I'm excited to watch it. I'll be at work, but I'm gonna be sad to watch said game.
I'm doing nothing this weekend and I'm so excited.
Yay!
I'm so excited. It's not even funny. Um, I am seeing one of my fr Can you hear the cars in the background? Okay.
No,
All right.
I hear my computer, which is not taking off but making noise.
Fair enough.
So,
Anyways, welcome back to Read Between the Blue Lines. I can't talk.
hello.
Um, this week's episode, however, is Read Between the Grid Lines. We're going to be talking about F1 and our predictions for the season because it's fitting. And I think if I talk about hockey one more time today, I'm going to bash my head into the wall because I
We
love
can take
hockey.
a break.
However, I got yelled at by a man on Twitter this morning,
Which we
and
hate. We hate.
we were just talking about this like before I actually hit the record button. But like, how do you have that much time in your day? Because
I
he,
also said, like, I wish I had that much energy to spend every waking minute of my day arguing with strangers who don't even know me on the internet.
I
Like,
know
I have real
he
things to do.
he
Sorry.
went on like a 10 tweet like tirade.
For what reason? Like,
Well,
why?
so okay.
No, I know why, but I mean, like,
Well,
why?
I'm gonna explain like a little bit of context here. There was a post on Twitter that said that Matthew Kachuk is a top 10, 15 player in the entire league.
which has been going around a lot now. But
And I
yes.
was like, with all due respect, no, he is not. I was like, but the amount of talent we have in the NHL, like, it's just not even close. And also, like, statistically speaking, he's not even like top 20, top 25, top 30 with
Yeah.
regards to a lot of like the most important stats. The only one where he's up there is like power play goals. And so one guy responded and he was super respectful and we actually like had like a nice conversation afterwards because he was like all the
That's a
props to
win.
you because you have to deal with hateful people on the internet and I don't know how you do it. And I was like,
Yeah.
thank you. And this comes because some random dude came in and started telling me that I'm a woman and I shouldn't talk. And then the guy that
Gotta
I was
love it.
actively having a conversation with responded and was like, dude, shut up. No one wants your opinion. The rando
Respectfully.
responded and like said something really mean to the guy. And I was like, oh my God.
I can't. Again,
So
put that energy towards
then
something else.
also on the line of Matthew Kachuk, someone we know posted about like them appearing on New Heights and I made a joke and was like, men shouldn't have podcasts because that's a joke that everyone makes
Yeah.
all of the time.
Literally.
Oh, and then
Well,
this same dude from the other Matthew Kachuk post finds this comment.
no, no. You know what he's probably doing? He was probably just going through every, like, you know how on Twitter you can, like, search a keyword? He probably just searched everything, like, just searched Matthew Kachuk and was just going through
Probably.
every single tweet with replies. Because
And
people do that, which, again, I don't know how, but could not be me or us because we have real lives.
yeah, and then he
Sorry.
went he went on like a 10 tweet tirade, I think most of which got deleted. Um,
Of course.
saying so many nasty things. And I did post about it on like our Threads account and I was like, just so you know, like this is a safe space. Please do not bring this energy here. You will be deleted. I won't even
Yeah.
entertain it.
And we've said that, but here too before. Like, don't be that person.
And
We deal with it
someone
enough.
someone goes, I hope you read him to filth. And I was like, honestly, he doesn't deserve
No.
that from me. He deserved nothing more than what I gave him, and he can keep talking to himself. Because then he kept, like, I stopped answering, and then he kept
Let
going.
him keep going.
It was the same
Maybe he
thing.
thinks you're responding, so he's just like talking to an imaginary Mackenzie who isn't actually tweeting back.
It was the same thing on your Welcome to New York post a while
Yes,
ago, where
on
that one
TikTok.
guy kept, like, commenting on my comment when
Oh my
after I
God, yes.
stopped.
I remember I think there was one I also the same thing I replied once and like some guy came back in and then I stopped responding and then like 10 other and I'm like you're having five conversations on one little comment I started, but okay. Have fun over there.
Yeah, so I'm just like hockey
I would
controversied
say
out for the day.
we're today's not the day. I say that as if I'm not watching a game after this, but as I shook everything, it's fine. I hit my microphone and then it hit my laptop and it hit the table. It's just like it's fine. But yeah, we're
This is
putting
why
that
we
aside
don't
today.
this is why we don't record at night because I
We're
feel
clearly we're at like the end. Like it's not it's fine.
yeah,
We're okay. But
it's
yes.
okay. I'm okay. It's okay.
Yes.
It's listen, honestly, Tate McRae is like the perfect vibe
Segue.
because she's like the hockey and the F1 and it's great.
Yeah,
Um yeah, so got ripped apart for having hockey opinions. Can't wait to get ripped apart for having F1 opinions. Let's
it's fine.
go. Um Australia will be coming up like right after we post this because I think I'm probably posting it like the week before.
You do
I don't know
you.
yet. Um quick recap. Also, FYI, this episode has no structure. We have not talked about it, so when this is a mess, I'm so
We're just
sorry.
talking. Again,
Yeah,
we have a common theme, but it works. We get all of our points across.
yeah,
Just
it's
might not
fine.
be very organized, but it's okay.
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
Max Verstappen won the world championship last season. Um,
Drivers, yeah. I don't know. Do
uh,
you have to differentiate? I guess you do.
yeah, he won the World
Yeah.
Drivers
I don't
Championship,
know if it
and
matters, but
McLaren won the Constructors Championship. Lando Norris did come not super close to Max, but like
close
within
enough.
distance that it did give
Yeah.
some people like it made the season entertaining. Um, which I don't know, because you're like a really big Lando fan.
Yeah, I've been sucked in.
I like Lando. I think that he needs a bit more credibility before he starts talking the amount of smack he's been
Yeah.
talking. Um, love
I
him though. I
also,
do love McLaren. I'm McLaren and Ferrari. Those are my two teams.
I'm pretty much the same.
Lovely.
Why did we expect anything different
No.
from us?
Um, same person, different font.
But you're more Ferrari than McLaren, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the opposite. I'm more McLaren than Ferrari. But those are still my like two, which I feel like is a common answer,
Yeah, no,
but
it definitely
we'll
is.
take it. It's okay. Count how many times I say it's okay in this episode. I'm already on like 10. Don't know why, but we're going. Anyway,
Guys, so okay, rewind the episode to the beginning and then take a
I
shot
can't
every
start
time
counting.
Brie and
Yeah.
I say it's okay. And then let us know when you need to get your stomach pumped. And then don't bill us for
I'm
it,
never gonna
please.
say it again now. Anyway, now that I'm
Uh,
aware of it,
God, what was I saying? Um,
um, the credibility, Lando coming close, etc., etc.
so like everyone at the beginning of like last F1 season was like, oh, it's gonna be so boring. Max is gonna win again. No one wants to watch this anymore.
Yeah,
And then I feel like it was one of the most, and listen, full transparency, last season was the first season I got into F1,
me
so I have no
too.
idea. But according to like general consensus, last
I
season was one of
knew,
the most
yeah,
entertaining seasons because Lando was in the mix. So
and like
why are we
more
hating on
than
Lando
more than
for
one
being in the mix?
person won on a race, like multiple races.
Yeah,
That was like one of the only things I knew coming in. When I was talking to my one friend who got me into it, she was like, I was like, doesn't the same guy win every single time? And she was like, well, yeah. And then literally the first race I ever watched in full was Australia last year, and Max DNF'd that like he was out in the first like two laps, and I was like, is this me? Am I the one making this happen? I took credit for it. I was like, oh my God, this is just because I'm watching it. But
I'm
it
trying.
did make it more interesting to me, but I also don't know what a quote unquote boring season would be like, but
The first race I watched, it wasn't Australia. Um,
I think like China and Japan were the first two last year.
I want to
Hold on.
say it might have been, what was the race where everyone crashed? Like everyone crashed.
Not Brazil. Brazil
No,
was insane.
it was in like March or April
Hold on, I'm pulling up the it's giving me like this year's, and I'm
because
like, I don't want that.
I was I was pulled
Okay, it
far
was
enough into F1 by the time that Montreal and Miami happened.
Montreal was a mess. Okay, so the ones in March were Bahrain was an actual race, Saudi Arabia was early March, Australia was late March, and then April was Japan. China? Japan, I think was a I don't remember.
F1 races with many crashes.
There were so many last. I know Canada was crazy because it was raining, and like five. It has to be Canada.
It wasn't Canada. I was watching
You
before
sure?
Canada. Yeah.
I don't know. I know that one was just like whack because it was raining and five people didn't finish their race and it was just crazy. Should I open up and see how many
I'm,
times people didn't finish these races?
I'm trying to look. I
Hold. In China had three DNFs. Hold
It
on.
might have been China, honestly.
That was April. I'm also gonna look Japan. Hold on. I love half this episode's gonna be like, which one are we talking about? Because they all kind of blend together.
Yeah,
Japan
oopsies.
was also three DNFs. That
It
was
was
early April.
it was an Asian-based race, so it was either China or
So one
Japan.
of those two. So April.
All I know is that who won China, who won Japan? Because that actually might help me.
Max won both. So Japan was Max, Checo, Carlos podium, and then China was Max, Lando, Checo podium.
I don't know. I really don't know. It was definitely like at least a month and a half before
Yeah,
Miami.
that's Miami was the next race after China, like 2 weekends later.
Maybe it was earlier. I
I
don't know.
don't know. Anyway,
Anyways, um, I feel like I was told it was gonna be like a really boring season, and then it was like
yeah,
so entertaining. And you and I both did not watch Drive to Survive.
No,
Um,
I'm currently watching it, and it's so funny because I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know this thing. And it's like my brain can't compute that that thing happened before I know the driver now. And it's so funny to me. But no, I did not watch it to get into the sport. I started
okay.
watching it after I watched the race, which is not common now, I think, but
Yeah,
does
I
not matter. It doesn't matter how you became a fan. I know people make that a big deal too, but
no.
if you became a fan because of Drive to Survive, as you should,
It's
as
the
we
same
said.
thing with hockey. Like if
Yes.
you start watching the sport because you think Jack Hughes is cute and then you keep watching the sport, great,
Yeah,
we're happy to have you.
exactly.
Just
Same
don't
thing.
be parasocial and weird about the players.
Yes,
But
also
like
that too. That applies to everything across the board. But yeah.
you're allowed to think that they're cute, but doesn't mean that's why. Okay. One of my
Tangent
favorite
incoming.
shirts. No, it applies. I think it's very like on brand for us. My mom got me a shirt when I was, I want to say like 11 or 12
I love it.
that said, "Yes, I'm a girl. Yes, I watch hockey. Yes, I think some of the boys are cute. No, that is not why I watch it."
Wait, I we need those now
I know.
because
I'm
it's
like, we should
still
make an
applicable.
updated version. Because like, yeah, some of them are
True.
cute.
Yes.
Some of the players in all of the leagues are very cute.
Hmm.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, literally. Sorry.
It's literally not why I watch the sport because you
No.
can't see their faces. Especially with F1, it makes me so mad. I'm like, you
Yes.
cannot see these men at all.
No, my favorite is when like when people on Twitter like will say that exact thing and then like they post like an overtake or like a win or something and they're like, "No, actually this is what's hot about this sport." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yes." Because like yeah, I'm literally not only how fast it is, but like you just see a car. Like you can barely see them in said car. And you cannot see
I,
their faces when they're in the car driving anyway. So like yeah.
I don't know how I got into the sport because um, a few of my friends go to Daytona and Talladega like every single year.
Ooh.
And I remember being like, dude, how do you find it entertaining to watch cars go in circles
I
for
used to say the same
hours?
thing.
And so my
Yeah.
logic with F1 was that they're fun circles, they're fun
They're
shapes, and
different
that's what
shapes.
makes it
I
different. Except now I'm finding myself also watching NASCAR and I'm like, what happened to
So
you?
mine, when I was little, I used to watch NASCAR all the time with my grandpa, and
Okay.
I don't want to say I loved it, but I was like, okay, whatever, I was into it. And then I wasn't into it enough to like keep up on my own.
Hmm.
And then this became a thing where my one friend who I'm seeing in Australia got me into F1 as like payback for me getting her into hockey because hockey is not as big there as it is here. So
Yeah.
she's like, this is what you should do. And me being me, I don't like things normally. I watched one race
No.
and it became my entire personality.
Does it look like I like
Naturally.
things normally?
Yeah, like normally, like, totally normally. So then, of course, because there's like breaks in F1 when they're like not racing every weekend, IndyCar, which actually when this post it starts this weekend, so maybe will be happening. I will be watching that race if it is not over, probably in the airport. Um,
I'm
but
very excited for IndyCar.
I'm so excited. But
I would
I before that, I was like, I don't know what this is. I'm not gonna watch it. And then like when F1 wasn't happening, I would just watch IndyCar, and then I was watching it the same time both week like on the same weekend. And I was like, what? Who am I? Like this, I didn't
well,
even know what this was a year ago, and here I am.
what got me into like NASCAR more so was the hockey guys went to Talladega and then that's it's
The crossovers get you. Like I
I
wouldn't have
don't
known.
understand how F1 pulled me in because like I didn't watch Drive to Survive. I still haven't
It's
watched
so
GTS.
fun.
And so I'm wondering like
Chaos.
how did what happened? How did this happen? It did
No, it makes sense to me. Like I love the I think with hockey we always it's like there are 82 games, but like it's only a 2.5 hour game. That's it. And I think like with almost every I don't know about how it is in NASCAR, but like at least Indy and F1, it's a whole weekend. Like multiple things happening on the same day, 3 days a week, and no race is the same. Not like any hockey game is the same, but like it's a longer event. Anything can happen in a sense. So I watched the first one and I was like, oh, I get it. I get it. I understand this. And then yeah, I was just it was like a slippery slope right into it all. And now I am here.
yeah.
Are we surprised? No.
No.
But they got to the point where like when they're in Europe, all the races here really they're not really early, but they're like 9 a.m. and on one weekend when there wasn't a race, my mom was like, "Why aren't you up really early? Isn't there a race?" And I'm like, "Nah, not this weekend, actually." So now everybody knows, but
Yeah, the
I
fun
do
thing
love
is
it.
like the 3 a.m.s. Like
Crazy.
I love that I'll complain about like an 11 p.m. hockey game or something, and I'm like, oh, it's so late. Like when like our teams are playing on the West Coast, or if we're
Yeah.
watching like a West Coast team, and then I will gladly get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go watch
So,
qualifying.
yeah, like the greatest thing for me is I'll get most of the time with those late ones, I'm like just getting home from work, so like I don't have to like go to bed and like I'll just stay up, which makes me sound like insane. But like the worst one, there was a 4 a.m. last year, and I was like, I am a maniac. I woke up and I was like, if I told a normal person this, they would think I was like insane in the head, and I am. But like it's worth it. So I also like can't. I
Yeah.
know some people like watch them after, and I'm like, I can't do that because like I'm gonna open up the internet and somebody's gonna ruin it, and like I want to like I just like knowing what's happening as it's going. But yes,
Yeah.
so fun. Time zones make it very interesting.
I am excited to have it back though, because like whenever the races are during like a normal hour here, or at least like when my gym is open, I will
Yeah, I forgot you did
go
this.
watch the race and I will like walk the length of the
I
racetrack
am so
while
amazed you do this
watching
because
the
how do
race.
you stay calm? I like
I
talk
don't.
and yell and too much. Like I
Um,
can't do that in a public place. It needs to happen at my house. Like I can't.
I try really hard to go at like the beginning of the race.
Okay,
Um, there are definitely times where I think people in the gym think that I'm losing my mind.
as you
So
should.
that's always really fun.
That's okay. They don't know
Yeah,
you. Say, look what's happening. Look what's happening. But yeah,
I'm
I'm
trying.
so excited. And like my favorite part in the summer now, like when hockey goes away, I don't want to say goes away. They don't go away. When they go on break, the overlap of
When they
like
all die.
off season, when it's off season, when they all go into hibernation, you don't see them for like 3 months. Um, it's nice because the overlap of hockey not happening all the time is when F1 is the busiest. So there's like a small summer break, but it ends up lining up perfectly for me. So I don't have like a gap of being like, well, what do I do with my time now? What is going
See,
on? I just jump right back
my
into F1.
my problem is that I don't know what happened. Like I've always been like a big sports person. I love sports. I love the community. I've always
Yes.
like loved hockey. Over the last 2, 3 years, I have become a crazy football fan,
Oh, I was like, what are you gonna say? I was very.
a crazy F1 fan. I am more into hockey
You
than
have
I
a
have ever been. I
gathering then.
watch like 30 games a week.
Me, me every day.
Yes, but that's your job.
No, but like I do that like even when I'm off, like you think I wouldn't watch it and then I'm still like, no, let me watch 5 games. Like
But
I
then
don't even
I
have
keep
to.
adding things. Because then I'm like,
Football's a lot too and there's like because they
football's a
all almost
lot.
play on the same day.
College basketball's becoming a
Yeah.
problem. Women's basketball, unrivaled. Baseball is like I'm getting
Almost
back
there.
into baseball.
Mhm.
I'm like, you don't have enough time for so like
I also
everyone
like
recently is like, how many books have you read? What movies have you watched? And I was like,
I don't watch movies, I watch sports.
I've been doing and listen, I love books, I love movies, I love music, I love all of it. It's
Yes.
great. I have become a maniac and it is a problem and I like need someone to take the sports away from me. Like I feel like I need like a vacation away
No,
from
but
it
it's
for a second to like
fun.
it is great. It is
It's a
my
lot.
entire life and my friends
No,
who don't
I
watch sports are like mad at me because it's all I talk about.
my a lot of my college friends like they're aware of sports, but they're not like into it as me. Like most of them probably didn't even watch a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And oh, well, I say that, but they live in PA, so maybe they kind of did. But they like ask me about work and they're like asking about it. They're like, oh, so like they don't have any concept of it. And I'm like, well, I can't like yap to it about you because you're not gonna get it. But like I feel like if you did get it, you'd really love it. But I'm like, it's times like that where I realize how much of like my life is consumed by like, oh, I'm doing things that like a normal person doesn't do. Like normal people
I
can, I don't know.
One of my friends the other day, we were talking and she was like, I love you.
Oh
Can we
God,
She's like, I love hearing you talk about your interests. However, can we like find
not this
something else to
interest.
talk about for a sec?
Not this one.
She's like, no, like I love it. It's great. However, when it's the only thing you talk about ever, she's like, you talk about work and then you talk about your other work, which is sports, and then you talk about sports.
Again.
because
Yeah.
like I have not watched a new movie in months.
I haven't watched, and not me either. I think last time I watched was like
The last
over the
new movie I
summer,
saw was
August
Wicked.
maybe. Oh yeah, duh. I saw Wicked in the theaters, but the last movie I watched at home, what's the one with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell? Anyone But You?
Yeah,
Yeah, that one I watched
that's a
at
good
home,
one.
and that
But
was it.
yeah,
And that was
she's
like the first movie I watched all year, so I was like, it's fine,
but it's
it's
fine because
okay.
her entire life is like film. And so like I listen to her talk
Okay,
about
so
film
she
all
gets
the
to geek
time.
out too.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Yeah,
It
it's
just I'm killing my other friends here. I need to
I
like
no, but I totally get it.
I need to cleanse. I need to
It's
start
okay.
obtain like consuming other media that is
Breathe. Yeah.
not just
Not
sports.
connected to sports. It's okay. It's okay.
Because I'm like, oh, I'm watching a new TV show. It's about sports. I'm watching a new movie. It's about sports.
That's how
I'm
my books are,
reading
and
a
I'm
new
like, I'll read
book.
a book.
Sports
It has something to
romance.
do with sports, yeah. All the time. But we love that.
It's
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 a
a
lot, but we
problem.
love it. I know, but we love it. That's how we ended up here. Literally.
Hi, welcome. Hope you guys like us yapping because we do it a
Yes.
lot, and I don't think we're
Yep.
ever gonna stop.
Nope. I haven't stopped yet, so
Oh, sorry. I'm getting a text about the puppies.
the puppies. I met them, everyone, and
You did.
I miss them dearly now. My
How
dogs are
are
very jealous. Well, only one of them like super inspected me,
ah?
but I was like, ah, the puppies. I miss them. They're my
If we still have them when you
faves.
get back from vacation, you can come visit them again.
I might.
You
I
should.
was gonna say hi.
Yeah. Um, back to F1 and what we're actually going to talk about. So, we're both McLaren Ferrari girlies. I am also having a really hard time because I do love Carlos. And
It's so weird seeing him in Williams. Like
yeah,
when I was watching testing this morning, I was like, get his name off that graphic. Like, what are you doing? I had the same reaction to seeing Lewis in like the Ferrari because I was like, it still feels like alternate universe-y to me.
but it makes sense though.
It
Like
does. But like
Ferrari is
Carlos.
still a top
mm,
four team.
yeah, it's just it's odd. I'm
I
also
just
like,
I wish that Carlos would have gone to Mercedes or Red Bull. I really wish he would have gone to Red Bull.
yeah, he was
Um,
flying in that car today though. I was like, okay, go do it. I'm like having it's a funny thing too because I think we always talk about in hockey where like the trades happen and people like go and leave your team and end up somewhere else. And I got so like when there's 24 races in a year, you get so used to seeing your the two drivers for every team. And now there's six rookies this year, six, and they're all children. Like they're very young, which I blows my mind.
yup.
But I'm like not used to seeing like they're some of them were replacements last year, so they aren't completely new, but this like their first full season. And I'm like, "Who are you? Like,
Well,
where did you come from?
especially
Why are you in this car?" Like, it is taking my brain so long to catch up to be like,
yeah.
"Oh, hello. Like, who are you?" And
And
they're
like
yeah.
Ollie Behrman, like
Yes, he's, like, new, but not
but
new,
he was a
new.
replacement driver for like two teams last year. Now he's
Yeah.
racing for a different team. So like it's there's
It's
like
a
a lot
lot.
to get used to this season, and I'm like not ready for it.
I
Also,
also feel like having 6 rookies is going to be, like, pure chaos.
it's gonna be
Like
chaos. But I okay. As much as I hate Carlos on Williams from like a personal I'm like, listen, like whatever. Um,
whatever.
I feel like it's fun to have him on Williams at the same time though, because if he can really move that car,
Yeah.
it kind of like breaks up that like big four and maybe we get some movement and maybe
And
we have some more
it
fun with it.
yeah, it kind of also
So,
solidifies, like I hate being like it's not a good team, so you shouldn't do well, but it kind of solidifies him as like he's a very good driver no matter what the car is, even though
yeah.
like looking at Ferrari and then looking at a Williams, we were all like, oh my God, I would say downgrade, but like downgrade, knowing what he did last year. So I think it's more of a proof to like who he is as an athlete to make it known that like just because he's in a different team that isn't maybe as respected or does as well, he's still doing well. You know what I mean? But I'm interested. But I would also be interested if he does better than Alex, how that like what the team does because Alex has been their number one for like a couple years
Yeah,
now,
but how do you make Carlos
but
Sainz a second driver?
you
It's
don't.
it's the same thing with Charles Leclerc
Lewis, yeah,
and
I was gonna
Lewis
say.
Hamilton. How do you make one of those your second driver?
Someone I sent this TikTok to my one friend. They were making a joke about like if Ferrari makes a bad like strategy call and they have to like I don't say sacrifice one driver, but be like you get the better result and you don't. Like who do you decide gets the points and gets the better result out of the two of them?
It's gonna
It's
be like
insane.
papaya rules all over. That was
No,
such a
I
bad
can't do that
call.
again. I cannot do that again.
I know it's gonna be papaya rules all over again, where you have like also because with all respect to Lando, I feel like Oscar Piastri is an amazing driver
Yeah,
and he shouldn't be a second driver. And so it's really hard looking at it and being like, okay, but Lando's winning more races, but should he have been? Like, is it more just like strategy call on McLaren?
the
And are we
team,
gonna
yeah.
have that issue with Ferrari this year?
I'm
Um,
like interested to see how that plays out though, because I don't want to say that like I think they're it's kind of an odd match as teammates to me still. Like I haven't again, it hasn't gelled in my head, but
I don't know that it
however the
will.
team no, I don't think so either, but however the team handles that, like if something goes wrong and they have to be like, okay, this is what happens, like I just in my head I can't like who do you pick? And how do somebody like fan bases and people how do you not get mad at who they do choose and how the race goes? Like that in itself is enough drama to probably drive the entire season. However it may play out. Maybe.
Yeah. So, for those who like don't follow F1,
I just realized we've been talking about this whole time and didn't even like have have not explained any of it. That's okay.
so yeah, if you don't follow F1 and you're listening to us talk about this anyways, sorry. There are probably
Fast
better
cars.
podcasts that could explain
Yeah.
this to you. However, within F1, it's like all the same league. However, we've mentioned the big four and then we've mentioned some like subsidiary teams. And so I think that
Midfield teams
yeah, and
ish.
I think it's kind of like because they are, you have your big four teams and then they each have like a farm team almost. It's like their like baby team.
Who you would think yeah, like similar enough. Yeah.
Well, no, they're all owned by the same.
Well, yes.
And so like we've mentioned Williams. Mercedes is one of the big four. They are like Williams like parent team.
Yeah.
You have Red Bull, who we mentioned. They have the V-Carb team.
Visa. I
Yeah.
can't get over the long name for them, but they're basically just mini Red Bull,
Yeah.
literally. Same thing.
So like you have like baby teams that are kind of like the AHL teams, but they're all playing in the same league. And
Yeah.
so when you look at it, you kind of have you have like your top four teams, you have some mid-level teams, and then you have the teams that are like the baby teams of those top four teams, and no one expects them to do well. And Williams is one of those teams. And then we have Carlos Sainz on that team who was on Ferrari last year
Yeah, they're
and an
also
amazing
like
driver.
type I feel like typically they're used like we had this argument on the internet with Red Bull this season. Usually those seats are used for drivers to kind of like get their foot in the door in F1 and like learn the ropes and then like when you're better, I don't want to say better, but like when you've established yourself in the sport, you get moved. George
Mhm.
Russell started in Williams. Now he's I guess you want to say first seat in Mercedes because Lewis isn't there. Um, there's somebody else I was going to reference.
No, it's
The
literally
most
like a farm
obvious
team.
one is Yuki Tsunoda, who's still sitting in V Carb when he should have probably got that Red Bull seat. He did not. Liam Lawson
Yeah.
got it, and he I almost said he skated in 6 games. He raced in like 6 races last year, whatever it was. But it's kind of
Uh,
like, hey, I have this driver who has like a lot of potential, and they deserve to be in the sport,
mhm.
and they kind of put them with one of those teams, let them race for a couple years, and then like when they've I don't want to say earned it, but like when there's a seat open and the team needs somebody to come in, they kind of pull from them. And that's usually what happens. Not every team has one, but there's enough that the connections are there.
Yeah. And
So,
also, so there's F1, F2, F3, F4.
yes,
And so like you
there's
start
so
off in
many.
F4 and then you like move your way up. And so
Yeah,
F2 is kind of like the
that's like your
ECHL
AHL.
almost. I feel like it's more like the ECHL because then I feel like the baby teams are
I don't
more like
know
the
because
AHL and then the top four teams are like the NHL.
a lot of
Just
them,
because there's such a disparity between the top four teams and like the bottom
yeah.
teams where it's like they're not even racing the same like they're
But
not
I
the same
think
level of racing.
in my head, a lot of the F2 drivers are reserve drivers for a lot of the teams. So like they
Yeah.
are already sitting in like, I don't know, in hockey terms, it's like if somebody's sick or somebody's hurt, you get to come in or like try it out because you are the person
Yeah.
that they kind of have lined up for that seat in the future. Um, like that's what Ollie did last year when Carlos missed. Like, so
Yeah. It
they have like
is.
a system, but you still and it gets complicated because if you race too many times in F1, you can't go back to F2 and blah blah. There's so many rules in it, but my
Yeah.
head also I feel like it's probably more similar to baseball because baseball has a lot more minor league divisions,
Yeah.
kind of. But in my head, I was always like, if F2 is usually a clearer path to F1, but it doesn't
It
always happen that
yeah.
way,
It
clearly.
is it is like the AHL in that way. I think just like I don't know because like the baby teams are
Baby
like
teams.
they're like a like half like if there was like a midway between like NHL and AHL that isn't just like the Sharks and the Ducks.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I'm say like bottom half of your teams that don't do well, but they show up. They just don't do as well.
Or they
Sometimes they
crash
get
their
points.
car every 10
Yeah,
seconds. Yeah.
sometimes they get points. Sometimes there's like, but it's
Very
more,
rarely.
yeah, I would say it's
Yeah.
more rare. I think V carb is probably the only one that like kind of straddles that line because like they usually are somebody is usually in the points for them, but they're not like
Yeah.
championship contenders. They're just kind of hanging out in the midfield, trying to just get in the points. But
So do
yeah,
you want to
go
list
on.
our teams?
Yes,
The
this goes
10
in
teams?
alphabetical order
Okay.
because they want you to be knowledgeable. First up, Alpine, which I love their car this year. The
Oh,
pink and
it's
blue.
so pretty. I love
I
it.
am so happy they put more pink in it. It's just my favorite thing ever.
It
So,
looks good.
do you want drivers for these teams or no?
No,
Okay.
just the
Alpine,
teams.
Aston Martin, green car. Ferrari, we said Haas. Has or Haas? I never know how to say it the correct way. Has.
I feel like I
Haas.
say Haas.
I think it's Haas. I don't know.
It might be it.
It's an American team,
Oh,
but like
it
I
should
don't
be
know how you
Haas.
say it.
No, Haas.
Haas, right?
Haas.
Okay. But I like want to say hat. Like, you know what I mean?
No, like Haas avocado. Yeah,
Yes.
Haas, I
Okay,
think.
Haas. Sorry, we don't know what we're saying. Kick Sauber. Oh, I just literally call it Sauber. The green, very, very bright green car.
I'm so sad about Valtteri not being
I know.
on the grid anymore.
He
Yeah.
is now Mercedes reserve driver. I think he's like moving to endurance racing or something, like the
Okay.
really long 24-hour one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say I saw something like that. We already mentioned McLaren, Mercedes, and this one literally has V carb listed as Racing Bulls.
Yeah.
Love that.
It's like technically what they are, but
Technically. Then
so
Red Bull Racing.
Racing Bulls or V Carb is the baby team for Red Bull, which is what you
I
just said.
typically just call them RB. Or yeah,
I call them V Carb, I think.
yeah, I don't know. I think you usually call them RB. Anyway, but yes, Racing Bulls
Oh,
is
by the way, the reason it's called V Carb is because it's VCARB. It's Visa Cash App Racing Bulls.
yes, they have so many sponsors out there. So V
Yeah.
Carb, and then Red Bull, like we said, and Williams. That's this year. Next year, we'll have a
We're
new team
adding a
enters the
team.
villa. I
Yeah.
don't like having an odd number. I think that's ugly to me. I like even numbers. So having 11 teams next year is not my favorite thing.
But there's
But
still an even number of
of
drivers,
drivers,
so
but like
yeah.
11 is such a
I-
weird number. Like make it 10 or 12. Anyway, so right now those are your 10 teams. And there's always 10 teams, always two drivers for each team. Some
Yeah.
teams have more reserve drivers than others, but you rarely see them unless something like insane happens to one of the actual drivers.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So they're also making some rule changes for the 2026 season. They're changing the liveries
so
completely
many.
and they're
The
changing a
car
lot of the
is changing.
regulation. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, which a livery is a car, if you're like general speaking.
the way it's like,
Yeah.
I want to say designed, colored, however, what do you want to, the way it looks. That's, yeah.
So, they're changing like the entire like structure of the car.
Yes.
And Max Verstappen, who is obviously he has four WGCs and he's like considered the best racer on the grid right now, has been very vocal about the fact that he does not like these changes. Um, and he's having a baby, and so I'm
Yes.
wondering if this is gonna be his last season.
Someone brought this up when the announcement went out, and I was like, I don't know, it sounds like kind of wild to be like, oh, I don't want to cut your career short because knowing him, like he's somebody that could probably come back to the sport and could pick up where he left off. But I was like, it's still so like early. And I don't know, I don't know. I like maybe, but I feel like that'd be such a shock.
But
Also, I
also,
feel like Red Bull would hate that because like he is
oh,
literally the
he
entire
is in a
team. He
contract
is
until
he is the Quinn Hughes of the Vancouver Canucks as Max Verstappen is the Red Bulls. They are the same person in
he
this
is,
sense.
I want to say he's locked in a contract till 2028.
I'm gonna look it up. I
Um,
want to say so. That's how many? Four
so
years?
yeah,
Three
so he
years?
would be breaking his contract. Um, that being,
Yeah,
oh,
until
also, by the
2028.
way, all of these drivers are extremely rich. You have to have a lot of
So
money to just get into the sport. And a lot of like F2 drivers end up actually quitting because they can't afford to stay in the sport.
yeah,
So these men have no problem with paying fines if they like quit and break whatever.
they
Like they're
also
fine.
all live in Monaco,
Yeah.
which you
For
don't
the
pay
off
taxes
season.
there. So no, like
Yeah.
most of them just live there in general. They like,
Well, yeah,
well,
but they're
not all
traveling
the
the
time, but
entire
like, yeah,
season,
yeah.
so
So it's all close enough. But yeah, I found that out and I was like, okay, like,
yeah,
sure. Yeah, they
super
make a lot of
fun.
money. The cars are worth a lot of money. So when they break them, it costs a lot of money to fix. Yes.
And you're only
It's
allowed to
just,
spend a certain amount of money to fix your
yeah,
cars over the course of the season. Like you have to be very like
meticulous.
cautious about your management.
Yeah.
You can only change like the engines and parts so
And
many
if
times
you
before you get
do a certain time,
penalties. And
yeah,
it's like
it's wild.
it would kind of be like if the NHL ever took action against people who abuse the LTIR thing
Yeah. No,
concept.
we don't see that though. Yeah,
So,
similar enough.
okay, so obviously your favorite driver is Lando Norris.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I think Charles is my favorite driver, and then
Charles is so fun. He's probably like
he's just
my,
so fun. Yeah.
I don't want to say my second. I guess probably. Because like he's the whole reason I started like watching Ferrari in the first place. But I don't really know. I guess we'll go with that. We love his dog. I don't know if you love his dog. I love his dog.
I love
I
him
love
so
him.
much.
I want to like I think if I met either of them, I'd be like, I just need to pet the dog. I need to pet Leo. I It's a need.
He's
Also,
so
Ferrari having
cute.
two of the best, like the dog dads
I
of
know.
F1 on the same team.
I'm so excited to see them in
They
the
in the
on the pit
paddock,
lane in the
yes.
paddock, yeah.
I hope they walk them in like they're buds now. They have to be.
Yeah, well, they met last season and it was like
Yeah,
really cute, and I hope
it's
that they stay besties because
that's
they're
what we're here for, the
adorable.
pet
Yeah.
content. Alex Albon has like 12 cats or something insane. Like he owns a farm. And it's the
Yeah.
funniest thing to me because I'm like, number one, who his girlfriend's like a professional tennis player. No, golf, not tennis, golf.
Not tennis. I was
But
like,
I'm
yeah,
like,
no.
no, it's golf. But I'm like, where are the animals? Like, who's taking care of them? That's a lot. I love that. I mean,
I do
I'd
not
be a
know.
pet sitter. Sign me up. But yeah, the pets of F1 are also a highlight.
They're so fun. Um, all right, so you don't think Max would leave at the end of this season if he wins?
If he win like another championship,
Mhm.
I feel like if that's the case, I want to say then maybe yes, because like then you go out on a high. If that's the case, I just feel like me speaking with no excuse, I just feel like that's kind of crazy to be like to give it up but at the same time, it'd be kind of hilarious to see Red Bull have to figure it all out to like stay a contending team without him there.
Well, because like
Not that I'm rooting for their downfall, but like it'd be
no, but
interesting.
if you were watching like last season, Red Bull obviously like Checo used to be a good driver at some
It was
point in his
literally just
career,
Max.
and like Max is the only one who could do anything, and they have the same car essentially. There are some
Yeah,
differences between like the team, like the driver one and driver two cars.
right. Like usually small ones though. They're not like major, major.
Checo had a really bad season.
Yeah. It got to the point where like I was telling people and I'm like, oh, I guess there's only one Red Bull on the grid because like the only one that would ever be in the points ever was Max. And he didn't have to win every race. He was just somehow getting he would get points more often than Checo would either DNF
He
or
had
not be in the
enough,
points.
Max had enough points like by himself to like almost win the constructors
Yeah.
championship
But him, imagine how
by
crazy that
himself.
is for one driver. You have two of them for that reason. One. It just I'm that's why I'm kind of interested to see how it goes this year with um Liam Lawson there because like he did okay. I think he did okay last year. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I want to know like if it's more evenly split and they both kind of show up, or if it's mostly still all Max.
It's still going to be all Max, and I think like you could see it towards like the end of last season, but like Ferrari and McLaren have better cars structurally.
Yes,
And like they're faster and
they're
also
way faster.
arguably there is strategy that goes into like when you pit, when you change your tires, because you
Yeah,
have
it's
to pit at
crazy.
least once in every race. Um, and like there's a whole like strategy to when you pit, what kind of tires use and everything. And I don't think I really hope that McLaren took the off season and Ferrari too and figured out like how they're gonna do their strategy because if they screw up on strategy, they're going you we mentioned papaya rules earlier.
Yeah, I was gonna say this haunts me to this
Basically,
day.
McLaren
Like,
has like an internal set of rules between their drivers that kind
which
of like allow them to battle each other, allow them to fight for like like grid placement and whatever. And it got chippy last season.
and no one knew it existed until they messed up on a strategy call, and then they were kind of like, "Oh, sorry, it's our fault, but now we're doing this." And you could tell both of them were like, "It's not my fault. Why do I have to kind of like pay
Yeah.
the consequences of it?" But from then on, it was like a whole it became like this thing and it was a huge I don't say drama, but it was definitely like a focal point of
Yeah.
that point in the season.
Mhm.
I dearly hope they learned because those couple races, I was like, I was sitting here. It was very hockey of me. I was like, I can do better. I can make the call. I can do this. It's so fun watching
Yeah.
it on TV because I have no say and they can't hear me because they're
It's
like
like armchair
literally thousands of
principal.
miles. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, and every team goes through that. Not, I feel like not as badly as we saw it with McLaren last year, but yeah, I hope they fix it. Speak
I
that into
will
existence.
I will say one of my favorite things about F1 is the fact that you can hear the conversations that they're having. Um,
On the radio.
so
That's my fave.
yeah, they'll like the announcers will stop talking. There'll be like a little like boop,
I was
and
gonna say the
then
noise.
yeah, and everyone knows to just shut up.
My favorite is like I'll be looking at my phone or something and I'm talking and I hear the noise and my head's like, hold on, someone's
Like, oops,
speaking.
squirrel.
I don't even care who it is. I need to know.
Yeah.
Like,
So you'll hear them like either the driver will complain about, something
other
going wrong with the
drivers.
car, or they'll tell the driver to box, which means pit, but apparently it's easier to say box.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But so like it's really interesting to hear them talk. And I know that we have that in hockey where like we'll get like a mic'd up afterwards, but it would be so
But it's
interesting like
not every day. Yeah.
during the game to be like, why'd Torts just say that?
Yeah. Like who's talking right now? Who's that? I
Could you
love
imagine
that
like
part of
you're
it.
watching live and there's just like a and then they chime in and you can hear the coach and you're like, huh?
Hold on. No, that'd be so fun though. Like if they did that for even if they just did it for the playoffs,
Or just
like
like
it'd be a fun
that would be fun to do for like All Star.
yeah. Ooh, I feel like yeah, I can get
Um,
behind it.
where like all of the players are mic'd up. That would be really
Yeah.
funny.
I know that's one of those things I love about it's kind of funny because like coming in I had no idea what to expect, but like when they started doing that, I was like, oh, it's kind of like it's cool to kind of have that inside like you get to hear what's actually like, going on in the race minus the commentators like telling you, but they go to like driver to driver driver and like
But you
that's
get
kind of
the
how you know something's
strategy in
happening.
too, and I think it's really
Yeah.
interesting to like Because like as the season progresses, I'm sure they change it as much as they can, and obviously we don't know exactly what they are, but they'll say like plan A.
No, so and like, you know why they
And you
do that?
start to
Because
learn the strategy
yeah,
of like what they mean and how many stops they're going to make. And so
and like what
you as a
tires? Yeah,
fan can watch this race and go plan A, but they're going to do plan B. And oh my God, they're going to be able to undercut. And then you can
yeah.
see like the whole race play out in front of you before it happens. And it is so cool and so
I love
interesting.
that. I know. It's one of those quirky things that I'm like, I'm so glad they do that. Like I
Yeah.
love that you get that inside part of it. And also I think it's funny when like something happens and they're like yelling and they're like mad. I'm like, "Oh my God." And like also though it's I don't know, I just love it. I love hearing them actually like talk about what's happening as it's happening and then you get that as a fan to be like, "No way." Like, did he just say that or whatever? So, I'm a
And then you
fan.
get Carlos Sainz getting in trouble for copyright issues for going smooth operator.
Also, my favorite are like when they win and like they always ask, they're like, oh, like they come on and they're like, congrats or whatever. And they always have some like the screaming ones when like people are, when they're yelling. And I'm like, oh, it makes me so happy. But then I'm like, if you had headphones in, turn that down 'cause it's gonna get loud.
Lando's first win
Yeah, that's
still
exactly
always
what I
makes
was
me
talking
so
about.
happy.
I know.
But I will say I I definitely had headphones in for that one. And I definitely went, ooh, because
Yeah, literally. But I
it was
just love that
so
part.
loud.
Like again, like imagine in hockey, like say Stanley Cup final, like winning a game like that, and then like being able to kind of hear all of them. I don't know. Like I feel like we do get it to a certain extent, but not
Yeah.
live in the moment because you always have someone talking. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of those fun little things they do, and I'm like, oh, I love that. Thank you so much. But yeah,
It's fun. I feel like McLaren's gonna take the constructors again this year.
yeah.
Just because like
I think as much as I love them, how the last couple races went last year and how close Ferrari got, I wouldn't be surprised if
yeah,
Ferrari
so
gives them a run for their money because like now they have two really, not that Carlos wasn't, but
but like
it's I don't know the
comparing
right word.
Lewis and Carlos is like comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah,
It's really hard because Carlos is a great driver in his own right, but Lewis has
1-7.
8,
I think it's 7. He almost had 8, and then Max beat him,
and
and
then
the
Max
whole
killed
thing.
him.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, if you
It
want
would
to
have
get
been
in,
8.
if you're interested and you don't know, like, okay, if you're listening to us and you're like, still sounds boring, go watch the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and come back and tell us if
Not
it's still
even,
boring.
not even the whole watch. Just like watch the last like 3 laps. Like you don't
No,
even need the
watch the
whole
whole
race.
thing. It'd be
No, but
fun.
like the
No,
last
yeah.
3 laps alone, if you just watch like that part, you're just like, oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay. I think McLaren takes it if they get their strategy in check.
Yeah.
However, you do have two amazing drivers on Ferrari. Ferrari has an amazing car, I think.
I'd be a little
Unless they
scared of
change
them.
something, I would be
I'd
terrified
be a
of
little scared.
Ferrari.
Yeah.
Um, as a Ferrari fan, I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
And then I do think that Red Bull will struggle because Lawson is new.
Hmm.
He still has to
Also
get
very
his
still again,
footing.
a rookie.
Yeah, and so we're gonna see how that plays out. I'm happy for Lawson to get a chance, but I think that Red Bull would have been better off putting Yuki Tsunoda in that seat if
I'm
they're
so
looking for at
upset.
the constructors. However,
Yeah.
I don't know that they care all that much about the constructors because they still
No.
do have Max, and so they're like, we'll get the a WDC anyway.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most glaring things ever was like when McLaren won, it was very much like a team. It was a team effort, a team win. Like they hadn't won in a very long time to get to constructors, and
Yeah,
I think Red Bull is very much like, no, we have a driver that can win the championship, so that's more important to us than getting the team award, which I'm like, okay, I get
yeah.
it, but also you should probably also try and prioritize the team award, championship, however you want
They'll
to
do
call
it
it.
after he leaves because they have no
Yeah,
reason
but
to
that's
really pay attention to their which I
yeah,
also like.
that's so crazy
I
though. Imagine
wouldn't
saying
want
that.
to be a second driver on Red
No.
Bull because like okay,
Do you
the
know how many have
way
come in and like what since Max has been there, like who's been in that second seat and who's left? Because like
I'm still
there's
mad
been
it's not Danny Rick, but
so
it's
many.
fine. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so here's my thing. To put it into hockey terms, basically the way that Red Bull works is that Max Verstappen is Macklin Celebrini, and the second driver is Will Smith. Also extremely
What?
talented, also a lot of potential. Gets completely overlooked because Max is there or
Because
because
there,
Mac is there. Oh, that actually works, Max and
that
Mac.
it like rhymes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the priority is definitely, and I don't think it. I don't want to say it shouldn't be Max because he's proven that like he is one of a kind, has a lot of talent, and can do it. But again, you have two drivers on your team for a reason.
yeah.
And I like if I was coming in as a rookie, I would have been like, sorry, I don't, coming in that you're not going to be given the same opportunities or prioritized the same way as Max is, and that's the
Yeah.
ultimate like second seat because you quite literally will never be on the same level as him based on in like the team's eyes, which is
Yeah.
so messed up, I think. But
That being said, I think I'd rather be second to Max than be second to Ocon. To Ocon.
yeah,
Esteban?
Ocon,
Ocon. My
Esteban
brain
Ocon,
stopped working for a second.
yeah, Bear.
Um,
I also forgot he moved teams.
yeah. I
Again, my
feel a
head's
little bit
like, I'm
bad for
like,
Ollie there, but
yeah, I know. I think they'll be them as a pair. I think they'll be okay. Him and Pierre, I was like, what?
that was a mess.
The yeah, I was like, when I first got into it, I was trying to like understand the dynamics of everybody, and I was like, what is happening over in Alpine? Like, what is going on? Like,
They
why
hate
are we
each
like
other.
this? Yeah, I was like, wait, the my favorite moment of them, and not funny in a moment, but in Monaco when I think was it Ocon, he came up behind him and like almost flipped Pierre,
Yeah.
it was the most. I was like, did that really just happen? Did he really just do that on purpose? It was the
Because
funniest thing.
also as important it is like yeah they're teammates, they're also directly
They're
competing
competing,
against each
yeah.
other, and that's also like that's where papaya rules became like an issue is because you have two amazing drivers who are now like fighting against each other with no
Who both want to
real
win.
rules about like who's
Yeah.
supposed to win and da 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 da. And so I think I don't know. I I don't think Red Bull stands a chance to win the constructors.
No.
That being said, I am really excited to see the upgrades that like Ferrari and McLaren brought because I don't think Oscar is in contention yet.
No, I think he give him like a year or two, I feel like he'd be on the same
Yeah.
level.
But I think that like
Promising.
between Lando, Charles Leclerc, Lewis, and Max, like that should be a fun
Yeah.
it should be fun to watch this year. And then if Carlos can really fly in that Williams, it would be fun to
Please
see like
do.
how high up
Please.
he can get. Yeah.
I think yeah, and I think we kind of saw that last year as I know they're like calling them the challengers now because like they're the only ones that are really putting up a fight against Max, which we kind of saw. But it'll be interesting to see if any of them are able to win it over him or if they just decide to like make him nervous for another year and then if he does leave then it's like then that would be a wide open field if he's
Yeah.
in it.
Also, especially because like I don't know if Max leaves, do you think that Red Bull should keep in-house or should they expand out and get like Lando
I
or
don't know.
Oscar to come over? Because my thing with Lando and
Orlando's there for a
Oscar,
while. Oscar might because Oscar only has like 2 years left on his I think
I just
Lando's got like a
I
couple more.
feel so bad for
Could you
Oscar because
that's wild. I would actually kind of hate that. But like,
he
oh my
needs to be
God.
treated better
Yeah.
because he's so talented. I don't
I also
know.
always forget. Yeah, I like that would be crazy.
I
I
would
don't
love
know how
to
I
see
feel about that,
Lewis
but that'd be
win
crazy.
in a Ferrari this season. That would be
I feel like
amazing.
he would. He could.
I also do wonder if he's like looking to like win one more and then leave because he's also getting like older.
I
Um,
funniest thing, when I first came in, I didn't I say that like I'm like joining the sport myself. When I first joined as a fan,
yeah,
not me like I'm competing, um him like Lewis and Danny Rick, I was like, oh, they're like in their mid 30s, whatever. Cause like I'm still like hockey mode. I mean, that's a normal age for an older athlete in the sport to
yeah.
be. When I found out how old, I think Lewis especially, I was like, what? Not that like it's mind blowing to me, but I never
Lewis is
thought,
the one that shocked you, not
yes.
Fernando Alonso.
No, but he was like, I got that. Like
Okay.
Lewis and Danny, I was like, there's no way they don't look as old as I guess would assume. But I was like, I think when
Also,
Lewis's birthday
just
passed, I was like, hold on a
BT
sec.
dubs, guys, they're not that old.
No, but in like sporting
Yeah,
world terms, they're
yeah,
like ancient,
yeah.
depending on, you know, what it may be. But yeah,
I don't know.
that's what makes it funny is that so many of them, like especially Lewis and Fernando, like the rookies that were like born in like 2006 were like not even alive when like Lewis won, and I'm like, what is that's insane. I know again we do the same thing with hockey because like the draft class comes in and I'm like, you're a child. Like you are a little itty bitty being. What are you doing here? But
Trust me,
then
this year's draft class I think is gonna make me like vomit. It's they're
when I
they're babies.
but like when I see your birthday and it's like past 2003, I'm like, you are not old enough to be doing this. Hold on a sec.
Yeah. Nope, agree.
But it's kind of funny because like the youngest is like 18 and like the grid is just like it's I love it. But yeah, it'll make it interesting. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Who do you think wins constructors in the WGC? I would love to see Lewis win. I do think that
Oh my God, but wait,
pending a
if
failure
Lewis
by
wins
Max.
though, does that not send Charles into crashing out? Because like I feel like if that were to
Yeah, but
happen,
again, I think if Lewis wins,
he'll
he
have
might go.
I
And
was
so
gonna
I
say, and
think that
like
that leaves the door
there'll
for
still be another chance. Obviously, way more chances, but I'm gonna say I'll say constructors from McLaren again. I think Ferrari will probably
I
not
think
make
it's
it
going to be
easy on
close.
them.
It's going to be
Yeah,
like 2, 3
considering
points.
it came down to the wire this year, like
Yeah.
literally by a race. I guess it'll be the same, but either one of them I think are worthy of it, I guess. But I'll say McLaren repeats if we say that. I
I
feel
think
like
the
if
only
I
way it's not, sorry, I think the only way that it's not close for the constructors is if one of the teams has like multiple
something,
crashes throughout the season
yeah,
or like DNFs.
and yeah, and neither of them did it either. I mean, there's a couple, but there weren't anything like major last year.
Oscar finished every single race, right? Oh no, he might.
Yes,
No,
he
did he?
took every lap. I want to say, hold on,
I want to say he took every single lap of every single race last year.
I want to say he did. Yes, he's only
Okay.
the fourth driver to have completed every lap in a season.
And that's why I say he's not a bad driver. He's a really, really good driver. He needs more of an opportunity to
Yes.
shine.
Um, I would love, this is me, probably my bias, but I would love to see Lando win the drivers. I feel, I still think it's like a little long, like a ways to go. Selfishly, I would just love to see it and the fact of it, but I feel like it's hard to pick against Max because he is who
But
he
also, like,
is.
Max had a season, like, I think everyone thought that
Average.
he was going to win every single race last season, and he didn't. And, like, he had such a dominating start to the season, and then he kind of, like, fell off a little bit, and
Yeah.
then
And
he
also,
came
like,
back with a vengeance. And
in
so
the
I wonder if
comparison,
that's,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I wonder if that's, like, where he's going to go this season,
And
like, out of
I was gonna say,
vengeance.
like, the comparison of winning all but one race the season before and then, like, starting out strong, but then not having that same dominance in the same way. I don't know if it's gonna go back to that or if we're gonna get the same thing of now everybody's kind of risen to the occasion and now there's other drivers on his level that are challenging him and you get the same thing.
They're not on his
No,
level
no,
yet.
but they're getting there.
They're getting there, yeah.
They're like pushing his buttons when, but
I will say once Max and Lewis leave, and I also like Alonso needs to go at some point because he is getting up there and he
what
doesn't really do much for his team.
Aston Martin in its entirety.
I don't like
Another
them.
conversation, but yes.
I don't like them. But I think like once they leave, like between like Charles, Oscar, and Lando, it's gonna be so fun to watch in like three,
Yeah.
4 years.
Because I also
Especially
think
if
out
like
of
Lawson
them,
and Behrman and Sonoda
yeah,
like really stick up and do well. Like, oh, it's gonna be
I'm
so
so
fun.
excited. No, but yeah, I'd also be, not that like Oscar's my all-time favorite, but I think if, like I was, minus the one win that like, what was it, Hungary? That like, I want to throw my head through a wall. Um, after that one, I was so upset I couldn't be happy. I was like, this is not it.
Hungary was rough. Hungary
Yeah.
was
But
like
like the
the
next
race that
one,
for McLaren France was
yes.
painful.
I think I have a video on my phone of me like yelling because I was so mad. But after that, when he won the next one, I was like, "Oh, this is so fun! Like, I love it! Like, I'm so happy for you." But like the first one,
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm out of here." I turned TV off. I was like, "This is it." Um, but I think if he were also again in the future, if that were to happen and he becomes a contender for that, it would be so cool to see him put his name in there and like again race. I don't want to say race to the like upper half because he already is, but putting himself in that
The upper like
conversation.
quarter, upper
Yeah,
third.
and he's still
Yeah,
so like it's only his third season.
I
I always
know.
forget that. Like he's so
He's a
young.
baby.
He's not that
Yeah.
young. He's like a year younger than he's like your age, I think. I think he's a
He's
2001.
either my age or a year younger,
Hold on.
I want to say.
I want to say
Okay.
he's 23. He is.
Okay. So we're the same age.
23, April
Never
6th,
mind.
2001.
Oh yeah, he's a month older than me. I
Yes.
forgot about that.
I know he had an April birthday because it's like same around mine, but yeah, Lando's like a couple months older than me and he's like a year younger than me.
Okay.
But yeah, it's only his third year, which I feel like we feel like it's way more, but it's not. So
Yeah.
he has so much potential, so many years to come. But
All right,
yeah,
so final season predictions is I think McLaren's gonna win the constructors. You also think McLaren's gonna win the constructors, but
yes,
Ferrari's gonna give them a fight. And
yes.
you think Lando's gonna take the WGC, and I think Max is gonna take the
Sure, I'll
WGC.
take it.
But
I'll own
I
that.
would like Lewis to win.
Okay. You should
Perfect.
just pick Lewis then.
But I don't
What
think
if
he's
you
going
jinx it?
to.
Oh. Well, but then you
I'm
could like if you don't jinx it, you just manifest it.
manifesting
Like
it, whatever.
I
It's
want
fine.
Lewis to win. But yeah, solid. I'm happy with
So,
that.
Bree, I hope you're having fun in Australia currently, because that's where you will be when this episode goes up.
Future me says hi.
Yeah.
Past me says hi. I'll pop in.
And at a certain point, we will be back with our regular scheduled episodes, and we're excited. We're having fun.
Yeah,
Let's have a good F1 season.
I'm excited.
All right. See you guys next week.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.